This is WJOU 90.1 FM Huntsville, serving the Tennessee Valley, a broadcast service of Oakwood University, on the web at wjou.org.
Good afternoon and welcome to Second Chance. Second Chance is a weekly talk show that examines a wide range of social issues and seeks to inspire physical, emotional, social, and spiritual healing, believing that God is a God of second chances, and through faith, all things are possible. Second Chance airs live each week from the beautiful campus of Oakwood University and features real people with real issues and offers real answers. And now, here's your host, Kenneth Anderson.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Second Chance radio broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson. As always, delighted to be here with you for information and inspiration through the broadcast. Second Chance still celebrating our 35th year of broadcasting here at WJOU Praise 90.1 FM. Now, I am delighted that many of you are listening at 90.1 FM on the radio this afternoon. But I'm also delighted that there are people listening at WJOU.org, which means you're listening all over the world today, and people also going to the live stream at Praise 90.1 FM on both Facebook as well as YouTube. And we invite you to hop on over there today to be able to join in the conversation with your comments and anything else that you'd like to share. We, of course, come to you every Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on this station at this time to be able to provide you with the best information that we possibly can. For that, we bring some amazing guests to the platform. And of course, I've got a series of those today, and I'm anxious to talk to them on this afternoon. But before I get started, a little birdie told me about a very special birthday that's going to take place on tomorrow. Our very own Alabama House District 19 State Representative Laura Hall will be celebrating a birthday on tomorrow. And Laura, I just wanted to take this moment at the start of this program to be able to wish you a very happy birthday and thank you for all of the ways that you have invested in this community for so many years. As an educator, as a legislator, as a mother, as a mentor to so many people. And I am so delighted that we get an opportunity to say a very special happy birthday to you, Laura Hall, celebrating a birthday on tomorrow. For this moment, I am delighted to be able to welcome my first guest onto the broadcast today. And let me introduce him at this time. He's Dr. Bryan Samuel. He's the Vice President of Access, Connections, and Engagement at the great University of Alabama in Huntsville. That's our sister institution, just around the corner, actually, and up the street. Dr. Samuel has quite a broad perspective on public university administration with over 32 years in higher education. He has had operation and staff leadership experience, helping university and secondary educational leaders to be the best that they can possibly be. He's also joined us on this broadcast before for a number of different reasons, one of which is that he is the author of a book called Finding Myself, A Journey from the Projects to the PhD. And I just want to welcome him back to the broadcast this afternoon. Dr. Samuel, it's so good to see you once again.
As always, my friend, anytime I'm in the midst of your company, I'm in a good place, my brother. I thank you for who you are and being the resource and support person that you are for so many in this great community.
It is an honor. And I know since you've been here on the ground, you hit the ground running, you brought a lot of experience with you, a lot of enthusiasm. You have been deeply vested in the process of people becoming better for themselves through education and more. And I appreciate you too. It's the old iron sharpens iron thing. You know, we feed off of each other, and we also get a chance to actually feed together sometimes too. So that's always a really good thing.
You're too kind.
Dr. Samuel, it is, of course, our last broadcast of the month of January in the brand new year, which is not so new anymore, 2026. But I did not want to miss an opportunity to talk a little bit about the fact that January is National Mentoring Month. Now, this is the 25th anniversary of National Mentoring Month, a campaign launched in 2002 by Mentor, that's an acronym, and the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. This year's focus continues to be on closing the mentorship gap and celebrating the transformative power of supportive relationships. And there are a number of things that are going on both locally, statewide, regionally, and around the nation, and even around the world, as we talk about this very powerful and potent opportunity that people can be exposed to. Let's just start at the very beginning. When you hear the word mentor or mentorship, what elements come to your mind?
I think of shoulders that we come to stand on, people who have kind of garnered a great deal of knowledge and experience in a particular space, be that professional, be that spiritual, be that educational, financial, folks who can help guide individuals to accomplishment of their goals, aspirations, and just being their best self, right? People who inspire you to keep going, right? Through a number of different skills and abilities that they may have. Maybe it's sharing their experiences, maybe it's getting you to the right person who can help, because sometimes a mentor isn't exactly the person to give you that help, but they're that vessel that gets you to that person who can help, right? So I think about just helping people be the best person that they possibly can be.
The imagery that's created by describing standing on one's shoulder is something that I think anyone can connect with and identify with, especially when we humble ourselves to know that none of us get anywhere in life without the support and help of others. And as I said earlier, and I acknowledge we've had you on the broadcast before talking about this really phenomenal book that you've written about moving in transitional elements in your life from the projects to the PhD. Talk to me a little bit about, I want to expand that a little bit more about just being able to appreciate and value those shoulders that one might stand on.
Well, first of all, I got to say that the most important characteristic of a mentor and the shoulders upon which I stand is the belief and that unyielding support that they give young people or whomever it is that they're mentoring. And sometimes it's as simple as acknowledging the power of words, right? And the affirming of a young person's dreams, goals, and aspiration, and just saying, yes, you can do this. Yes, you can do that. Yes, this is possible. This is something that can be done that is within your scope, your abilities, as long as you are willing to work, right, to toil, to put in that time for accomplishing that goal of that task. And when I think about people who have mentored me, they all started with yes. Yes, I will mentor you. Yes, I believe in you. Yes, I have confidence in your abilities. Yes, this can be done. Yes, you too can be a PhD, right? Some of those different kind of things that I aspired to do. And, sometimes there are informal mentors, people who kind of give you advice and don't really know that they are mentoring you. And then there are those formal mentors, right? Those people who kind of select you. You're cut from a certain kind of cloth, or I think you can go a long way. And they see themselves in you or something that make them want to pour into you, so to speak. So, mentoring, wow, I don't know that there's anything that has ever been accomplished in these United States and the world for that matter that hasn't begun with some degree of someone mentoring somebody else.
There's this really powerful commercial, and I honestly don't remember what was being promoted, except that the essence of this commercial was this. They had these people come on. I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm an engineer, I'm a mechanic, I'm a business owner, et cetera, et cetera. And at the end of it, the punchline or the tagline was, I'm that because of a teacher in my life. And teachers bear the title of educators, and they bear the title oftentimes of people who have a powerful influence on people's lives. In many ways, they're formal mentors because they have the job of teaching, but there's so many informal mentors in our lives, and the capacity that they have to impact our lives is profound. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. And I would say that in many ways, the most profound impact has been that of an informal mentor, right? That person who just, I wrote in the book, and you've read it, that there was a young man who told me that after some drama had taken place in my neighborhood, I mentioned to him that when I was in college, I didn't have to worry about those type of things. And he said to me, well, if that's how you feel, that's where you need to be, right? I mean, just genius. And a light went off. Oh my God, why would I be sitting around here sweating drive-bys? And I could be at a college or university finishing or pursuing at least a bachelor's degree, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't have to worry about a drive-by when I was in the residence halls or when I was in, the library and that kind of thing, right? So I have the utmost respect and regard for that man, and see him as an informal mentor just in that blink of an eye, the impact that he had with his words, right? Mm-hmm. So informal mentors, they can be tremendous. Also, you have people, parents and relatives who don't always know, the processes, or they don't always know the resources or the mechanisms that are there to support you with accomplishing a goal. And, but they can inspire you and tell you, to keep going and to keep trying and keep reaching out and things of that nature, and don't give up on it. Right. And that in and of itself is invaluable.
Do you make a distinction between role modeling and mentoring?
Absolutely. I see a role model as someone who demonstrates characters and traits that you would want to be associated with, right? But that don't mean that person is a mentor. A mentor is someone, to me at least, in my definition of being a mentor. A mentor is someone who pours some time into you, who spends some time in your growth, development, and maturation in pursuit of your goals and aspirations, right? A mentor is someone who, one way or another, formally or informally, is in there with you. A role model may not even know you exist in many ways, right? They never really see you, even though he, she, they may in fact cause you to want to be a cardiovascular surgeon or something. If you happen to come across them, right, and you see them and you're like, oh man, that coat, I'm going to get me one of them coats and wear one of those stethoscopes around my neck, right? And they may not really know you exist, but you look up to them, right? Mentor know you one way or another.
Yeah. That is the challenge, I think, oftentimes of celebrity, because a lot of people admire celebrities, and not so much that they want to be in their position, but they want to kind of aspire to element of professionalism and advancement and success in life. And the secret sauce in that aspiration, I believe, is the mentor, the one that now perhaps has a full-time job or perhaps is in school full-time, and then redirects their effort into the life of someone else through a deep investment and commitment to that person's growth. And I know, as a member of the 100 Black Men Greater Huntsville chapter, of course, I'm repping them today. I know you're a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. You have a Guide Right program, which certainly speaks to young people. We're involved, you and I, as well as so many others that we know, are involved on a regular, sustained basis in the lives of young people, make a difference. Talk to me a little bit about why consistency matters in this process.
If I could characterize it this way, I like to think of an artist by the name of Gilbert Young, who lives in Atlanta, Georgia. And he has this portrait. And I'm sure you've seen it 1,000 times, and it may not be as meaningful to you as it is to me. But there's this brother, African-American man, who's ascended to the top of this wall, and he's reaching back to pull up somebody else. And the title of that particular portrait is "He Ain't Heavy," right? He ain't heavy, meaning, you can give back. There has to be a number of ways that we, as men of faith, men of character, leaders in the community, can reach back and help others aspire to their goals and aspiration, fulfill their goals and aspiration, and just be a good contributor to the community, right? I think that's critically important. So I like to think, that this is my calling, this is my passion, this is, who I am and what I was put on this earth to do, and that is to help others ascend barriers, move past some of the barriers, systemic and otherwise, that may be placed in their way and might cause some folks to get off their path, but for having that mentor or that someone there to kind of help them say, hey, back in my day, I had this similar problem, and I just stuck with it, and I worked through it, and I got past it. And we say in the church, tough time don't last long. Tough people do. Joy comes in the morning, right? Yeah, this is bad, and in your mind, it probably can't get any worse, right? So let's keep on keeping on, and mentors do that for you, right? Because when I think about my mentors, I didn't want to be the person to let my uncles down. The ones who gave me a couple of dollars here and there so I could get some food to eat at college. You flunked out. What do you mean you flunked out? I didn't want to be the person to let my uncles down or my mentors down, the people who were pouring into me, right? When they ask me about my grades, I want to be in a position to say, hey man, I got 3 A's and a B. And knowing the next question gonna be, what was the B in? Yeah, but yeah, mentoring is critically important to all of us. I do believe.
Yeah, trouble won't last always, and of course, it won't last always because oftentimes we have great people in our lives to sustain us through this process of mentoring. I'm talking this afternoon with Dr. Bryan Samuel. He's Vice President of Access, Connections, and Engagement at UAH here in Huntsville, Alabama. And I'm just privileged to have him on the conversation this afternoon, reflecting on National Mentoring Month. I'm going to tell on myself, as I've done so many times, I'm going to keep it brief, but 36 years ago, I had an opportunity to mentor some young brothers over at what was then Davis Hills Middle School. And I was deeply invested in their lives. I decided I would go have lunch with them every Friday. And I did that for a whole year. After first being asked to come over, help in some way. And I didn't know how, but they said some way. And also, I had no idea that I would have the kind of impact I had on their lives, but I learned a very valuable lesson because one Friday I had to leave town for something, and I didn't tell the guys I wasn't coming that week. I mean, I just figured, hey, they've seen me for 4, 5, 6 months. They can do without me for one Friday. And I came back the next week, and those young brothers read me the riot act and said, basically, don't ever do that again. We've come to count on you. We've come to respect you. We look forward to seeing you. Don't ever do that again. And I learned something. And that's kind of why I asked the question about consistency, because we make assumptions sometimes, I think, when we step into the space of mentoring that we shouldn't make, that we are in a bi-directional relationship is what we are. But sometimes we see it as a unilateral kind of thing. And it's not just us stepping into that space to help somebody else, but it's also about what we get from the experience of giving and sharing. And I'm sure you've had that experience as well.
Nothing makes me prouder than knowing I've had just a small impact in the lives of young people. And I say small because you may give your time, your talent, and your treasures in support of people, but ultimately they're the ones that's still doing the work, right? They're carrying forward and carrying on in pursuit of their their goals and aspirations, right? So, yeah, given that time and being consistent is critically important to the mentoring process, because you never really know when the breakthrough moment is going to happen, when something critical is going to come up, like the young man I was mentioning earlier when I was talking about the informal mentors, right? You know, if he hadn't been there at that moment or just said something off the wall, like, man, this ain't none, this is every day ring I hear you know, wait till tomorrow or something, you know. I probably still been sitting on that corner. You know, I never would have went back to school or something, right? So you never know, but you have to be consistent. You have to demonstrate to them, and in full faith, confidence, and credibility, who they can potentially be. They have to see that in you, right? You know, I once was at Kansas State University, and a young man asked me, "Hey, what do you do for a living? I want to do what you do, man." You know, he looked at my clothes and my car and whatnot, and I said, "Hey, this takes some time." You know, I was washing dishes years ago, right? I was a bus boy and a dishwasher, and then what you see today is 30 years in the making. You understand? And you're not going to be here tomorrow, but you can be here. Don't confuse not being here tomorrow with not being here at all, right? So yeah, you have to be consistent. You have to put that time in, and people come to trust and value you only after they know that you care, and that you're not going to be you're going to show up one time and, you know, run off and, you know, not check on them and that kind of thing.
That's right. There's one of the things that they're focusing on this particular National Mentoring Month as they celebrate 25 years, this concept called reverse mentoring. And I thought I wanted to spend just a couple of minutes talking about this because I really think it's valuable to the mentoring journey. And what reverse mentoring basically is allowing those that we typically see as the mentors to benefit from things they may not be exposed to, or things that they may not know as much about. Different kinds of trends that are taking place in the workplace today, technological things that are going on in the world today, and being able to somehow help the older cats like us really kind of understand how we can better work together as teams and also, again, benefit from one another. I love that notion of reverse mentoring.
Yeah, we've coined it another way in higher education, or at least I have, and we call it mentoring up, right? And helping many people who probably have been where we're trying to go, as the old folks used to say, learn or unlearn in some cases things that have guided them for who knows how long in their daily interactions and operations, right? Because so much has changed. In higher education, for example, you know, we're engaging and educating students who have always had technology at their fingertips and have never had to remember anyone's phone number, right? You know, sometimes I see people asking, well, if this generation had to do something that you had to do, you know, back in the 70s when I was a kid, what would that be, you know, that they couldn't do? I said, well, remember a phone number. We had to know everybody's number, right? You had to know your mama's work number, your daddy's work number, your grandmama's number, right? Your address, your zip code. I mean, your social security number. You had to know all these numbers, right? Heaven forbid you meet a girl and she give you a number, wasn't no iPad to write it down on, know something to, you know, help you remember it, right? You had to remember it. You had to remember that number. You probably said it 20 times over in your head, right? But make sure you didn't forget it, right?
Right.
And all things being considered, though, it's a new day, right? And so there are many things that have transpired and advancements that we have made that makes it important for us to be able to mentor up or reverse mentor, because there are things that older folks and in some cases even younger folks, if you're, you know, I got a particular person in my life who's an uncle at like 12. You know, he's an uncle at 12, right?
Right.
And all things being considered, you would think the nephew, right, would be the person needing the mentoring. No, it's the uncle who needs the mentoring. You know, but yeah, it's serious business. It is a good thing for us when we can find it to help learn about things that we probably have not had to think about, given, when we came along, and things that we learned in our educational journey, our professional journey, our spiritual journey, and the like. And yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
It absolutely is. And we got about 3 minutes left, but I wanted to add on to that the notion of lifelong mentoring and the fact that it is a smart thing for anyone who is aging, moving through life in a variety of different ways, to always get under the wings of somebody who knows more than you, has been around longer than you, has been exposed to many more things than you, or to things you haven't been exposed to. It's always smart to experience mentoring across the lifetime. I know you would agree with that as well.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, we only got a few minutes. So I have this ideal that I call the Fave Five when it comes to mentors and people in your life, right? Mm-hmm. And that first person of the Fave Five that you need in your life to kind of help you grow and be successful is that person that's like-minded, right? You can't soar like an eagle if you're hanging around the chickens and the turkeys and some of that kind of thing, right? You need to be with like-minded people who are about the kind of thing that you are about. You can't be a chemist and you're hanging out with the musicians and what have you, who are not studying chemistry, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not putting the musicians down. You need someone that's going to be that kind of parental mentor. And a lot of times young folk don't want to hear from their parents as much, but somebody who can give you that same kind of guidance and advice in a manner in which you can receive it, right? And, not a disciplinarian type of manner or that stern type of manner that makes you turn off your attention and go in one ear and out the other, but that parental advice nonetheless. You need what I call that bizarro person, that person that you absolutely positively don't want to be like. You asked me about role models and emulation of characteristics and traits and skills and that kind of thing. Well, you also need to know this person isn't going to class. And I speak a lot about education because that's where I live, right, every day, mm-hmm. right? This person is going to the gym. They're going to play basketball all day. They're going to lift weights all day. And they're going to be in great physical shape and be able to run the court all day, but they're going to flunk chemistry because they're not going to class. You need to seek those people out. Not that you need to be judgmental or anything like that, but these are things that you don't want to do. You can't do and be successful. You need that mentor that can invest in you. The hardest piece about getting through college many times is the money, right? Somebody got to pay for it. And whether that's student loans or scholarships or working your way through or what have you, but you need that mentor, that person that not only may have the resources to be able to invest in you, but they will do it for you as these things come about. And then finally, you need that mentor, that person that, if you find yourself in a bad situation and you really don't need to be there and, the light bulbs start going off, you can send a text message. Hey, man. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Johnson? I'm at the gas station at such a place, and I'm really getting a bad feeling about these guys. Can you come get me? And a lot of times that won't be your parent, right? You don't want to call daddy because you call daddy that you're gonna get an earful, right? Not to mention some other kind of things that might happen, especially back in our day. But you don't want to call dad, but you do need some help or somebody to come get you out that situation or pick you up from this place. And sometimes mentors will do that, right? Be there for you and give you some good advice and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so if you have those 5 people, as I think it takes a team of folks to mentor. No one mentor can be everything to everybody, I don't think.
That's right. Dr. Sam, it's been great speaking with you this afternoon. If anyone wants to reach out to you, how would they do that?
Oh, thank you so much, sir. I can be reached in a number of different ways. Professionally, I'm at the University of Alabama in Huntsville in Student Services Building 320, office line 256-824-4600. Personally, I am on LinkedIn, linkedin.com. I'm also on my own website at findingmyself.org, www.findingmyself.org, where you can get information about my book, speaking engagements, and other kind of things along topics of education.
Thank you so much for joining me today. We look forward to additional conversations in the future, and I hope you have a fantastic afternoon.
Thank you, and have a great day.
All right. Dr. Bryan Samuel kicking us off this afternoon. He, of course, is the Vice President of Access, Connections, and Engagement at the great University of Alabama, Huntsville. We're going to kind of keep the ball rolling here today and make sure that we stay on task as we share great information with great people who are joining us on the platform today. My next guest is joining us, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation because he's got a lot of good information that you definitely want to check out for sure. Chris Mixer is Director of Resource Development for Habitat for Humanity of the River Valley. This is his first time on this platform. We hope it won't be his last, but I'm so happy to welcome him because we just launched a brand new quarterly segment called Habitat for Humanity of the River Valley, where it is our intention to let you know at least 4 times a year about the great work that's being done in this area. Chris, how you doing this afternoon?
Very well, thanks. Little under the weather, but I'm just honored and blessed to be here with you today.
Well, we're keeping you in our thoughts and prayers for recovery from whatever that bug is. That's
I know.
Kind of messing around with you right now, but thank you for joining us and investing in this space and time. Chris, there are people, I think I counted about 4 people who don't know what Habitat for Humanity River Valley is. So let's just kind of start right there and contextualize where I'm going with your specific responsibilities in resource development and some of the exciting things that are happening. Just generally, what is Habitat?
Well, let me just start with our mission statement. Our mission statement is seeking to put God's love into action. Habitat for Humanity brings people together to build homes, communities, and hope. So I would say that what we're doing is housing solutions, but it's more than just housing solutions. It's building community, finding answers, and ultimately, creating a stable and safe situation for some of our families that are at risk.
Yeah, and when I think about Habitat and what you just said about housing solutions, and I think about the challenge that so many people face as it relates to that one specific thing, just finding a suitable place to stay, Habitat serves such a critical service to our community and touches the lives of so many people in very profound ways. And of course, that ultimately is the goal, to get people in a situation where they can secure housing and be able to provide for their families. And you've had a chance to see this up close and personally through, again, the work that you're doing. And we're going to talk specifically about that in a moment. But just generally, what brought you to the Habitat space, and what has that experience been like for you?
Sure. And so my background when I came out of college was I was a youth minister. And what really got me excited was service projects where youth could put their faith into action and see those, tangible results of helping and loving their neighbor. And I don't think as I progressed through different service projects, there was anything more profound than housing solutions because it solves such a major problem and potentially creates more solutions. For example, I think the average rent in Huntsville right now across all housing types is about $1,480. When we can get a family into a home with rent, with insurance, with property taxes, all that for under $650 a month, now they can redirect their income to childcare, healthcare, all the other needs in their lives because we've reduced their housing costs.
Wow, Chris, people are already listening to the conversation, but now they've perked up. They heard the numbers. You actually made that very pragmatic. You made it something that people can understand. And you can also, I think, bridge the gap between what Habitat does and what it represents and why you spend so much time in the community cultivating relationships with companies and people and faith groups to be able to make this whole process successful. So talk to me a little bit about your role as Director of Resource Development and what that represents for Habitat.
Sure. We're in the relationship business. We want to engage the whole community. That means, churches or schools, businesses. One of the jokes we have is what we call the theology of a hammer, which says a hammer is not Republican or Democrat. A hammer is not black or white. A hammer just says, hey, will you pick me up and get to work? And so we're looking to engage the whole community, create something that is bought in by all parties, because we all realize that we're better when we can put people into affordable housing. It's going to make our neighborhoods safer. It's going to make our, communities better as a whole. Not just that, and we can talk about this later. Habitat's efforts also stimulate the economy. Our homeowners are paying their property taxes. We're hiring contractors or, plumbers or specialty tradespeople. And so really, we believe that what we're doing is bettering our community. And my job is to build those relationships in as many different ways as, we can see. If I'm allowed to visit a church and share, I will. If I can set up a table or a booth at the Home and Garden Show, I will, because my job is to bring people to the table, not just donors and sponsors, but anyone that wants to be part of what we're trying to do, which is better our community.
Chris, you've been inside the process long enough to also know that there may be some misconceptions about what Habitat is, and there may be some misconceptions about the people who are the constituents of Habitat. Talk to me a little bit about that. What have you learned through that process, and what would you share to people who may have misconceptions, misguidings, or other kinds of things?
Sure. One of my favorite aspects of Habitat is that we don't build homes for families. We build homes with families. Each of our families are going to invest 300 sweat equity hours. That'll be education, that'll be work on their own house, a variety of things. But the idea is that we don't give away homes. Our homeowners earn them every step of the way by, the investment of their time, the investment of their money. And we are just lucky enough to walk alongside them. And the joy of that is that you get to know their stories, their hopes, their dreams, their kids' names. When you're on a Habitat work site, you are building relationships.
That word relationship just kind of creates a thread in terms of our humanity. And I think it really kind of helps to magnify the relevance of what this ministry is. And I don't mischaracterize it in any other way. It is a ministry. It is something that is absolutely designed to enhance the capacity of people to live lives to their fullest. And I think that one of the reasons that I'm attracted to Habitat is because of that very thing. It is about relationships, and that I believe all success in life is predicated on relationships and giving people an opportunity to show up and be the best that they can give in that process. And I love the fact that you said this is a deep investment, not in an external way, but in a collective way, in an inclusive way. You're not just doing something for someone, you're actually doing something with someone who has an interest in doing that. And I like the way you characterize that so that people can understand that. You talked a little bit about, and I want to go a little bit deep into this relationship thing. The relationships that you develop throughout this community exist in a variety of different ways. Let's talk about it from the corporate perspective.
Mm-hmm.
What kinds of things are happening in that particular space as it relates to Habitat?
Sure. We love our corporate partners. They sometimes have, opportunities for funding. I have a friend. Sorry.
That's all right. just an extra guest.
Work from home. It's hard to get away.
It's just an extra guest, so it's okay.
But no, our corporate partners are very generous with us. But what we love is that they don't just write us a check and tell us to go on our way and do good. They want to get on the work site and see what is happening. They want a volunteer day, and they want to be able to share that with their teammates. And some of them will, some of these companies are even generous enough to like take a day of the week, like Tuesday, give them paid hours, but let them spend those paid hours on a Habitat build site. And then they're inspired by the work that we're doing. And so obviously, when we go to build a Habitat home, we have to fundraise all the materials. So what we're going to do is fundraise for all the sticks and bricks, all the nails, all the lumber. And then the homeowner is going to pay us back, but they're going to pay us back at a 0% interest over 30 years. And so the beauty of that is it's the single most affordable way for them to pay us back. And when they pay us back, we're not profiting. Their payments are cycled right back into the program to build more affordable housing. So every time a corporate dollar it shows up on the front end so we can buy our lumber and our nails, they know that they're actually going to build two houses, because we're going to build that house, the homeowner is going to pay us back, and then we're going to build another house. And so it truly is a good investment from a corporate standpoint.
The cost of building homes has, of course, increased like everything else, but you also are experiencing consistency in terms of those local companies that come to the table and also support you in that kind of way.
Right. So we want to call it authentic partnership. We are going to communicate, not just what we did with your dollars, but when the home is done, we love having what we call a home dedication event, which is like an open house. You're going to be able to meet the homeowner, take a tour of what your dollars, were invested in, and hopefully come back around next cycle because you appreciated, our transparency, our honesty, and the opportunity to meet the family that your dollar served.
I know there are people real excited right now. You said so many things that I think it's like what's not to get excited about in terms of this opportunity to provide housing for people in an environment that is always challenging, not just here in Huntsville, but around the nation, even around the world. And people are listening this afternoon. I hope that they're being inspired, especially in this particular area, because Chris can do something, and he can do something right here, right now, to inspire you to get involved. And of course, we're going to give information in a little while about phone numbers and websites and social media presence and stuff like that. But Chris, what is the opportunity for people listening this afternoon to reach out to you and discover what opportunities might exist to be able to support Habitat through the work that you do specifically?
Certainly, and that's one of the beauties of our organization is that there's such a variety of opportunities to engage. You could volunteer and there's no, financial costs. There's no, you can volunteer once, you could become a regular volunteer. You could make a designated gift where you say, I want my gift to support, new construction in this neighborhood, this county. And so there is a variety of ways to engage. And yeah, we'll share those with you. Of course, it starts with our website, habitatrivervalley.org. That is our local affiliate. We have been in Huntsville since 1987. And so our affiliate is well established right here, and we do serve Madison, Limestone, and Jackson County. So again, if you want to designate your gift or your time for a specific county, like I want to serve Limestone County, we can provide those opportunities.
Yeah, and people are listening from all of those counties this afternoon. I just want to ask one more thing about that, because this notion of expanding into other areas, I think, also represents not just the need, but the opportunities that exist to align with the mission of Habitat to be able to say that as habitat grows and the needs grow, there are additional opportunities for people to come to the table. So if you would just affirm that as well, because just the growth itself indicates the need, but it also presents the opportunity for people to get involved.
Right. So 10 years ago, we were called Habitat for Humanity of Madison County, but then our footprint started expanding as we saw needs and opportunities. So the second county that joined our service area was Limestone County. Athens, I think, is still the fastest growing city in Alabama because of all of its industry and other good stuff going on. So we're going to make an intentional investment and to get some land in Limestone and start building houses out there. And then the third county that we adopted in our service area was Jackson County. And as we speak, there is infrastructure going in a little city called Hollywood, which is near Scottsboro. And I forget exactly how many lots. I think it's at least 8 lots. We are doing the infrastructure so we can start construction later this year. And so we're very excited to be getting ready to build our very first new Habitat homes in Hollywood for our affiliate. That'll be coming later this year.
For those who are just joining us this afternoon, I'm talking with Chris Mixer. He's the Director of Resource Development for Habitat for Humanity of the River Valley. And he's providing us with just oodles of information about this organization that's making such a big difference in people's lives on a consistent basis. And I'm just so grateful that he's here to share. We got a big event that's coming up. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But every time Chris says something, I think about one more thing I want to ask him. And I'm just as excited as ever about this process. But we have a lot of academic institutions around. I was at Calhoun for 16 years. One of the biggest things I promoted was service learning opportunities for students to get involved and engage in volunteering, community operations. And you mentioned the opportunity that exists for volunteers. When you think about our colleges and our universities, and also some of our secondary schools that are out there with student organizations that want to get involved and be a part of this process, would they just reach out to you as well? Would they go on the website and get more information? How would they go about doing that?
We do have a volunteer coordinator. Her name is Tracy Draper, and we'll share that information. But you want to let her know your time opportunities. You know, I'm thinking about, the summer, or I'm thinking about every Saturday, or whatever your opportunities are. And then she can make sure that you get the information about upcoming opportunities. But no, we would very much welcome college students, trade school students, anyone that wants the opportunity to build. They can even build a team and make it a young professionals like little network social circle where we get pizza afterwards or whatever. We would love to see some young people get involved, because they're going to fall in love with it. They're going to want to be part of what we're doing, and that would be great.
Yeah, I just don't see how they wouldn't fall in love with it, because again, you're part of a community that is inspiring a community that is making an impact in people's lives. And just the whole process is a continuum of inspiration and opportunity to be able to enhance the quality of people's lives. I mentioned a few moments ago that there's a huge event that takes place every year. It's called Raise the Roof. And of course, Raise the Roof is coming up one more time. And it's one of the ways that Chris also gets involved and excited in the community in terms of stirring up the pot of camaraderie and collaboration. Tell us a little bit about Raise the Roof, Chris.
Right. And so we rent out the Saturn Ballroom at the Von Braun Center and invite the community out. It is a ticketed event, but our goal is that you will hear firsthand testimonies. You will be inspired by video and, homeowner stories. And so every year, we just get excited. This year's event is March 10th, so a little less than 60 days from now. And where I'm excited is I know who's going to be on stage speaking. And so I'm getting excited that other people are going to hear these wonderful stories of hope, of transformation, and plus networking. We already have like 25 companies committed to attend, and you'll be able to bump into a variety of wonderful community partners. So it should be a great social event. as well as an inspirational event. And so that is March 10th. And if you want to be a sponsor, or if you're looking just to get tickets to be in the room, of course, you can visit our website, habitatrivervalley.org, or contact me and I'll share that information here at the end.
Yeah, and I encourage as many people as possible to get in the game here, and just, if you're not ready to make the commitment, just come and learn about what's going on. Chris, you talked about the first person testimonies of people. It's one thing for you and I to sit here and talk about what a wonderful thing it is, but being in that room and hearing those people talk about how this has literally changed their lives, the transformational journey of home ownership, which is still the American dream. I mean, it's still the single greatest thing towards generational wealth and transferring that from one family to the next. I mean, this is huge. This is a game changer. And you get in that room and you hear people talking about how this has literally changed their lives. You will not be the same as a consequence of that. So we encourage as many people to come out as possible. Let's talk for just a moment about one of the areas I have a deep interest in. And of course, my intention is to do a lot more in this area as a member of the board, but the faith community. This is a radio station that airs on WJOU. We're called Praise 90.1 FM. It's an inspirational station. There are a lot of people in the faith community who listen to this broadcast and this station for a variety of different reasons. This is a tremendous space to be able to share something with the faith community members, and not just, a lot of people say, well, that's the pastor. No, we're talking to you, ministry leaders, people have a interest, people will have Habitat family members, to learn more about how they can get involved. Chris, I'll turn it over to you and tell us how they can get involved.
Oh, absolutely. And so Habitat for Humanity is a Christian housing ministry. While we don't, evangelize before you're allowed to be admitted into the program, we are not ashamed of the fact that we are founded on the principles of loving your neighbor. And so we use biblical principles to, do our work. And we would love communities of faith to be part. Maybe that means as we start a home or finish a home, a church comes out and blesses that home. Maybe that means, not just volunteering, but inviting us to come on a Sunday morning to a Sunday school or a whatever and share our stories. We could bring homeowners with us or videos with us because we do hope to engage this community. And maybe that means even networking you guys together. And so that one church works alongside another, house of faith, and so that they can get to know each other, because not all denominations always mix, in normal life. So it'd be great to see an AME church and a Baptist church working on the same, work site. Let's put our efforts together, love our neighbor together. And we would very much welcome the opportunity to speak with churches, bring churches out, let you guys even be part of our homeowner education classes. Whatever we can do to partner, we welcome that.
Yeah, boy, it just sounds like there's so many different ways that people can get involved. And one of the things I have found, Chris, it's pretty interesting that all you have to do is really kind of start talking about something related to Habitat. Someone who's been fortunate enough to be able to get a home, somebody who has invested in the process through the sweat equity, somebody who has is operating under 0% interest rate in order to be able to pay that home off, somebody who is benefiting from this dream that they've had to have home ownership. And it only takes that sometimes for people to just say, well, tell me a little bit more about that. And I think that's a really, really cool way to go about Habitat, because it's not a hard sell. And when you think about the opportunities that exist through what we've talked about already, I would be remiss if I did not give you just a short opportunity to say a few words about Restore, because this, of course, is part of how Habitat brings funds into the facility as well.
Right. And so Habitat for Humanity of the River Valley operates out of an old Chevrolet dealership at the corner of Pratt and Washington. And part of that is office space, but the other part is what we call the Restore, or a home goods thrift store, where you could find not just used items like used furniture, used lumber, used desks, all kinds of different things that contractors, when they renovate kitchens and houses, they'll bring us their old stuff. So we got doors and windows that have been pulled out of houses, but we also get new stuff. A lot of community partners will send us their excess and their leftovers. So we have this warehouse called the Restore where we are selling, 5-7 days a week. And here's the beauty of it. When we make a profit in the Restore, that's covering our administrative and overhead costs. So when someone donates to Habitat, more of their dollar actually serves families and goes into programming because the Restore covers staff salaries and the building. And so the Restore is this great opportunity to fund the ministry. And that could be people donating items to the Restore. And there are some fun stories for a different day. There used to be a children's museum in Huntsville called SciQuest. And when SciQuest shut down, we got everything that was in SciQuest. So you never know what you're going to find. We might have outdoor playground equipment. We might have pipe organs. We might have clawfoot tubs. We get all kinds of donations. And what's great is this last year was our most successful year of the Restore ever. The Restore made more profit in thanks to our community and the donations than ever before. And again, that just serves our community, our programs, and the ministry.
Yeah, there's just so much to be excited about regarding Habitat for Humanity of the River Valley, an organization I have deep respect for and, of course, have made a deep commitment to. And I'm just so glad that we've had a chance to talk with Chris Mixer. He's the director of resource development for Habitat for Humanity of the River Valley. Chris, one more time, tell people how they can learn more about Raise the Roof, and then also about a website, social media presence, and more, so they can get more familiar with what's going on.
Sure. Our best social media platform is Facebook, and we're facebook.com/Habitat River Valley, 3 words just crushed together. And you're going to find out all kinds of things on Facebook. You're going to see pictures of families, stories. Whenever it's time to open the application process, that's where you're going to see that we're now accepting applications. So you really do want to be following us on Facebook, not just because it makes me happy, but because you're going to get that information that you want about volunteer opportunities and open houses and home dedications. So Facebook.com, Habitat River Valley. And then our website is also habitatrivervalley.org. There is a button or a link there called Events. And under Events, you're going to see Raise the Roof. And you're going to learn about how to be a sponsor, how to get tickets, who our guest speakers are, or who are the attending companies that'll be in the room. Because we really do want to be a community, inviting as many people out as possible. If you ever want to donate, there's also a donation button right on our website, habitatrivervalley.org. And there was one thing that we haven't talked about yet, but I'm sure we are already running out of time, but I'm never short on words. We could talk about Habitat every quarter of your show. But we also do critical home repairs. A lot of people think that we are just in the new construction business. We know that some people own their home but can't afford a new HVAC when it goes out. They can't afford new windows when one breaks. So we are also in the critical home repair business and did more home repairs last year than any other year of our existence. We love being able to serve our neighbors in that way as well. Sometimes volunteers can even do those home repairs. Sometimes just our staff goes out and gets them done if it's just a 2-person job. But we could always take more and talk more about our ministries and programs.
Well, Chris, I'm going to tell you that I know that Jeremy Folks, the CEO president, asked you if you would sit in for him today. and be able to share information. But I'm personally going to talk with my friend Jeremy and say, just like Chris come every time. I mean, he's just been a wealth of information and he can get the job done for sure. I really appreciate you being here today. Chris Mixer is Director of Resource Development at Habitat for Humanity of the River Valley. Chris, thanks for joining me today and look forward to future conversations.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right. And get well soon.
I'm mending. I'm getting there.
Good. Very good. We'll see you soon.
Blessings.
Chris Mixer, the Director of Resource Development at Habitat for Humanity of the River Valley, joining us this afternoon. We're going to come back in just a moment with our next guest, who is in the hot seat and ready to roll. We'll bring her on in just a few moments. I'm Kenny Anderson. It's Second Chance. I hope that you're having an amazing and splendid day.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. I hope that you're enjoying the great conversations that we're having this afternoon. This is our quarterly sessions that we do 4 times a year at a minimum, learning about various individuals and companies and initiatives that are making an impact in the lives of people. Once again, thanks to Chris Mixer, the Director of Resource Development at Habitat for Humanity River Valley, for joining us and being able to share all that great information. As I said, my next guest is in the hot seat. I don't see where it's hooked up to something, but we'll eject her if something goes wrong here. But there's a net somewhere. She'll fall into it safely and be just fine. She's Tenesha Thomas. And we launched a brand new quarterly series last year called the All Aboard the Nonprofit Power Up series. So she's been just taking us up and up and up. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Tenesha is a dynamic nonprofit consultant who thrives at the intersection of strategy, leadership, and impact. As the founder of Onboard Solutions, she brings a wealth of experience in municipal government, nonprofit management, and community service to help organizations move from good intentions to measurable results. And that's what we talk about all the time. Tenesha, good to see you. Happy New Year to you.
Good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. Happy New Year 2.0, 2025 2.0-ish.
Yeah, listen, it's 25, 24 days in right now, and I am still saying Happy New Year to people I haven't seen yet because I need to. I mean, if I haven't seen you or talked to you, it's still me saying Happy New Year to you. We made the transition from one year to the next. We're excited and optimistic about where we go from here. And I'm just so excited to talk to you today. I always give my quarterly guests the assignment of telling me what they want to talk about because I absolutely want to speak to their areas of strength and interest. And Tenesha, you've just put a bomb in my lap today with this conversation, and I'm looking forward to it. Of course, time's going to run out, but let's just plan on that already. It just means you're coming back at a later date to talk to us some more. Alignment isn't a buzzword. It's a survival skill. Alignment has actually become one of my favorite words, along with words like intentionality and grace. Yeah. I got like a core of favorite words right now, and I hold them close and dear. Alignment happens to be one of them. I was so excited when I saw that because I wanted to hear all about what your thoughts were. And, we always start trading thoughts. It's like, wait a minute, Tenesha, that's my thought. Tenesha said, wait a minute, Kenny, that's my thought. So we're always in alignment, and I'm glad to know that. But clearly, organizations are not always in alignment, and I'm sure that's what you want to share with us. What are you suggesting by this topic? Alignment isn't a buzzword. It's a survival skill as it relates to organizational management.
Well, I think we're definitely aligned and synergized because you kind of stole a little bit of my opening thunder there. I think that we do have these words that we hold near and dear to us. Alignment is one of them. Intentional is one of them. And we use them, but it's almost like how we used pivot. Pivot was the hot word after COVID. Everyone's pivoting. And so now it's from pivot to... So we have these words and we kind of say them and they become so common and so trendy that we don't take into consideration what they actually mean. So when I talk about alignment, especially in the world of nonprofits, alignment is the glue. And so it's one thing to say it. And when you say it, it's everyone is just like, aligned, we're aligned. And, it's not one of those words, if you really take the definition of it, it's not one of those words where you can say it and leave it on its own, because alignment is shown in action. And so usually you can look around the room, you can look at the current state of the organization, you can look at, indicators such as staff turnover and retention, you can look at, ending the year in the black or the red, you can look at high board turnover or lack of board engagement. So you can look at things that speak to the contrary of being aligned. And so people say this word, confidently, we're aligned in our mission and our vision, and we're aligned in, making strategic growth. But then when you look around, the writings on the wall, like this is screaming misalignment. But Kenny, misalignment is often very quiet. We say it, but alignment doesn't show up when things are calm. Alignment is back building, it's back brewing. And when it shows up, it will be so clear and so obvious. Let a bad budget come in. Let funding stop. Let the executive director or the CEO decide to resign. Let a key staff member, no longer able to come back. And you will soon see just how misaligned you might be.
So now you got me wanting to secretly text a few people to say you need to get on this call right now, because Tenesha is dropping some nuggets, some wisdom nuggets that they need to grab onto, And I mean, listen, you said a bunch of things here. I want to kind of chop some of that up so that those folk who know they need to be on this call, jump on this call right now so you can pick up these great things. Going back first, you talked about alignment not being a buzzword. And like the word of the month or something like that, it really has to show in the sauce, that secret sauce that holds things together. And I want to talk about warning signs for boards. Let's talk boards, because organizations, boards, I love the fact that you focus on boards, because there's so many ways in which boards operate or fail to operate out there. And we'll think, for those that are listening, we'll think in terms of the organizational processes, but we're really kind of talking about board stuff right now. You can apply it as you will. Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about warning signs for boards that they're not in alignment, that they're misaligned.
Yeah, I think a couple of warning signs are, I'm a consultant, but I am very people-centered, people-centric. Everything I do is going to come from a place of being holistic. And so I'm really in tune with people and how they show up, how they act, and how they behave. So a warning sign, take a look at your boardroom. Just look around the room. Are people present? Are they there just for pizza and lunch? Are they contributing, and not contributing in yay, nay, oppose, sustain, but contributing in ways that are meaningful, measurable, and impactful? Is there conflict? Is it heavy? Are you preparing to go to a board meeting and it's, you have to release a sigh? That's a really big indicator that something in the milk isn't clean, as my aunt loves to say, something in the milk ain't clean. Or if you look at just what's in black and white. So I love a good board report. And so, and not just the surface level board report, board members you don't have to micromanage. There's a stark difference between micromanaging and getting down in the weeds versus knowing and transparency and actually having some understanding of operationally what's going on. It's not yours, it's, to handle the administrative of it, but it is yours to at least know. That transparency will help you. And so when you see a board that has no idea what's going on with the organization, they're surprised at news that's announced during the meeting. People aren't even showing up to the board meetings consistently or in a way that actually adds impact. Just lack of transparency. Those are really subtle sometimes, because sometimes they get confused for lack of communication. But those are subtle things that, often more times than not point to some type of misalignment.
When you talk about misalignment, are you talking about the idea that the people who are connected to this organization are not in sync with the mission or the vision? Are you perhaps talking about misalignment with the members of that board? What are you talking about when you talk about misalignment? Or are those just examples of several things that might be happening?
That's exactly correct. Their example, they all go under the alignment umbrella. And so, for example, the board's idea of alignment is going to look a lot different because they function differently versus the staff may have an idea of what alignment looks like. Stakeholders may feel like they're aligned with the organization that they have stake in. So each version of alignment will look a lot different depending on the nature of that relationship. But overall, I think the key thing that's missing usually and how misalignment is able to kind of show its face is that alignment has never been defined in the first place. And not only has it not been aligned in the first place, but it hasn't been defined collectively. So if you have a executive director or a CEO and their understanding of alignment is how they manage their staff. If you have a board and a board chair and their idea of alignment, it may be, you know, the cadence of their meetings or the productivity from the meetings, how many reports, all of the things. You may have staff internally that may think alignment is just making it through the day. They may be aligned. We came together as a team and we were able to make it through the day, make it through the week. That is alignment to them. But in a nonprofit situation, especially when you're following the blueprint, which is your mission and vision, everyone needs to at least have a common ground, a base level understanding of what it means to be aligned to that said thing. And then you can go off and put your spin on it, but at least you have a base level. And what I see often more times than not is the base level of understanding is not there. And again, you know, not to call anybody out, but here's a calling. A lot of board members have no idea what the mission or vision is, or they haven't visited it in so long that they have, you know, perhaps, you know, lost sight of what that meant. And so now they themselves might be misaligned with the very mission of the organization that they're donating their time and service to. So umbrella alignment is a big, huge umbrella. There's so many different variables that go into it. But I think the key, like I said, for defining alignment has to be defined together and collectively. Then you can disperse and you can do all of your things, but the core, the umbrella part, that's something that has to be collective.
I would imagine, just listening to what you're saying, that part of this whole process is something that emerges from a strategic element of that particular group working, whether that is, as you said, in the articles that guide the work of that organization or the mission and hold people accountable, whether that's some kind of strategic planning process that takes place on a regular basis, whether that's every 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or what have you, as things happen that have a profound impact on that organization, whether it's reduction in staff or reduction in budget or increase in staff or increase in budget. A lot of people always look at it from the bottom, but it could also be that things are actually getting better and people are still trying to operate in the same way that they've been operating, and it creates misalignment because of that. Right. Talk to me a little bit about where does the process for alignment, where does the responsibility lie for ensuring that the organization is aligned? I know you and I want to think it comes from consultants, like, because we like being paid by people that bring us in. And so that's the obvious answer, but
ding, 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 you get a consultant and you get a consultant.
But beyond Tenesha and I, but of course we are available. Beyond Tenesha and I, where does the key part of that process come from?
I think the overarching part, and you know, it sounds very technical. You and I have talked about this at several different points last year. A good strategic plan is always going to be your guiding roadmap. Meaningful meetings, so meaningful board meetings that are fruitful enough and holistic enough where it's not just time for reports, talking heads, do the things, let's go, let's eat. Like that's just dun, 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 dun. A meaningful report. So perhaps, you know, a mission moment, or perhaps a shared story. Perhaps bringing in, you know, certain staff members so that the board can actually, at least by face, know who is powering this organization that they are responsible for, that they're governing. people have to be connected and kind of see behind the curtain how things actually work. I was reading some information the other day, and there was a Gallup poll that said that 1 in 5 people, for every 1 in 5 employees, they have no idea how their actual work connects to the goals of the organization. And so I put that and layer it onto nonprofit world. If you're down in the trenches, hat down, tucked, doing all of the things, seeking out grants, perhaps, or you are managing volunteers, or you're doing, some function that contributes to nonprofit work, you may have no idea what Lisa in payroll is doing or what she's going through, or how what you're doing actually impacts her. You may not have any idea why your CEO might be in a meeting with the CEO of Habitat for Humanity, and you, in your eyes, you have no idea. That makes no sense. That comes from lack of transparency, communication, all of those things that we're putting up under the alignment umbrella. And you have your touch points and your checkpoints. So whenever I do strategic planning with people, the first thing that I do is make sure that it is clear that we are also assigning accountability. We are assigning accountability, making sure that this plan actually has movement. And so when people are accountable, then they actually know what it is that they're plugging into. They see the bigger picture, which is that plan, and they see their part and how they plug into that. And not only am I making sure that we have accountability, we're also having benchmarks. We're having checkpoints. It's not going to the shelf to die. It's a living, breathing document, and it's going to keep us accountable. And it has its own magical way of keeping you aligned, making sure there's no mission or vision drift, making sure that there's no one going rogue and doing their own thing. And if they are, perhaps it's time to revisit said strategic plan and make some adjustments or, some type of pivots to the goals.
Yeah. We're talking with Tenesha Thomas. She's the founder of Onboard Solutions. And we're talking this afternoon about a danger for organizations to operate in the shadow of being misaligned, and that misalignment evolves from a variety of things, missteps or failure to be accountable and other kinds of things that happen in that process. And I think it's a great conversation because I see this happening so much. Let me ask you this question, because in one sense, I feel like I want to help somebody this afternoon. When people come together for organizational conversations, and you've referenced this a couple of times about meetings that get off track, which of course, I don't think any meeting should ever happen without an agenda being given prior to the meeting, yes. And not 24 hours before the meeting. Like, give me the agenda.
Standard. You do realize that's the unspoken standard, that the day before the meeting, perhaps the morning of the meeting, you're going to get a flood of information.
Yep. Or no meeting or no agenda, and then you're asked to come to this space to make decisions about budgets, about staffing, And I'm like, wait a minute, so you want me within the next few minutes? All in favor, say, I mean that.
Now, Kenny, let me tell you. Let me just pivot and insert right, because
you got to pivot.
I'm going to pivot.
I'm just messing with you.
You asked me earlier what were some red flags, and I will tell you.
Okay.
Things like that could be a red flag too. I've seen that happen in situations. A lot of times it may not be for you to know. It's by design, because, if you don't have a long time to sit with it or to investigate it or research it or to ask questions about it, if you are rushed into these decisions, then that takes some of the transparency out of it, some of the questioning or the pressure testing that's actually necessary when you're making these huge decisions. So when you don't give people enough time to sit down with it and actually look and pay attention and see, sometimes so many things get missed and they get glossed over. And then 6 months down the line, well, you voted for it. Yeah. It was in the agenda. It's like, oh, did I? Because you have no idea. Like, I guess I did. Yeah. There's my name. So that's one of those like secret silent red flags that are waving to say, hey, we are so off key here. The misalignment, we are off the tracks.
Let me suggest another area of misalignment that I have experienced. And I think misalignment is a broad thing, and it should be in the context of how we show up in spaces where professional decorum is expected and anticipated.
Yes.
When the meeting that you've been asked to come to breaks out into a planning session rather than a meeting, I think a lot of groups really don't make a distinction between the two things. So, even with an agenda, you come to this particular space to talk about this particular thing, and all of a sudden you get on item number 3, and it's, let's say, eight items on the agenda. You get to item number 3, and then people start having a planning session around it. And it's usually planning drift because they're not really conscientiously saying, let's do this. It just happens.
Yeah.
And so this person over here says something about the item. This person over here says something about the item. This person over here offers a suggestion. This person over here offers a rebuttal. And then before you know it, we're planning something. And meetings, I have no problem with a planning session, but it needs to be called a planning session. I need to step into that space knowing that the expectation is we're going to plan, not report. And I think that's a huge issue of alignment when you start talking about people who don't show up for meetings, who don't have much to say. Because I'll be honest, I have had situations where the meeting's gone about 30 minutes longer than it should have for me. And I'm not saying another word. I'm not going to be the one to make it any longer than that because I can probably count on somebody else in the meeting who's going to do that. You've been in some of these meetings before, Tenesha. You know what I'm talking about.
I know because you've been in the room with me, Kenny. So I know you know. we are. I'm tracking. We have been in those rooms together. So yes, I am very aware. And there's nothing pains me more than to go to a board meeting and now I am in a quasi makeshift work session. Number one, you got to give me some time. Like my mind, the way that the world is going, my days and weeks, my mind is on board meeting. And that quick shift into a work session, it's like I'm having a squirrel moment. What are we really doing? And so I am 1000% right there with you. And I think, again, that shows to misalignment, lack of planning, lack of direction, and sometimes even lack of leadership, because certain things require certain things. If you are having a planning session or a work session, that needs to be planned and thought out. You need to have some objectives and you need to have mechanisms to make sure that you meet that. If you're having a board meeting, a board member is walking in with the expectation that they are coming to a board meeting, and to shift somehow and, not respect perhaps. And I say that, and I know that may sting, but to not respect the time of the professionals that are in the room, again, donating their services and their time to the organization, that could be seen as just, very lackadaisical, disrespectful, unorganized, misaligned. And that's when you may have a board member, not putting you on blast, Kenny, but kaboom, a board member that's like, it's 1:30. I'm not saying anything. It's time to go. I'm shutting down. This is crazy. And so when you wake up those negative emotions, even if you're thinking them and not speaking them, that's doing something to you on the inside. So where do you walk into your car saying, man, these people wasting my time? And you're more inclined to what? To not come back. You're more inclined to look at that email and still kind of have some heat coming off of you. Just look at it and go on to the next message. And so all of that matters. And I think people get stuck in the moment and they don't see it all the way through. That's why I really love being people-centric and holistic, because it's not even about what you're saying in the meeting. You got me in the room. I have given my time. I am here. I am stopping something else to be here. Let's do the thing that we're called to do. Don't throw me into a work session and I'm not ready.
That's why if I'm running a meeting, you will never hear from me. I'm giving people 5 more minutes to show up. That's where misalignment starts for me, because now you've just misaligned my schedule.
Yeah.
And now it gets personal, because it's like, wait a minute now. I was here on time. In fact, I was probably here 15 minutes in advance.
No, you weren't there. I was getting ready to say 15 minutes is the standard. 15 minutes is actually late for Kenny. For y'all listening, let me tell you, any type of interaction you saw, I was here 20 minutes early. Just let me just be here. So Kenny, I'm here. But I understand that, because people are doing things. You have to be respectful, especially in the nonprofit world, when there's little to no money. Like people aren't showing, these aren't, a lot of times it's not a paid position. And so people are there because they have a heart of service. They're amped up on the mission. They're doing the thing. And then you pop their balloon with a work session out of nowhere. Like, what are we doing?
Late. That starts late.
That starts late. And you got pizza that I don't like. And you didn't even ask me if you brought something and it's all meat and I'm a bit, so it's just.
Tenesha, I'm giving you 3 minutes because I'm like I said, I know the time is going to run out. It always does. But you got about 3 minutes to do this for us.
Okay.
So we will concede that the primary responsibility for accountability and alignment is that CEO, that board chair, whoever that person might be in that particular space. But what happens when I'm the person in the room, I see it, but nobody else recognizes it? What do I do?
You got to say it. You got to say, and again, going back to being people centric. And I'll be honest, you led with Happy New Year. Kenny, I am blessed to be here just to see another year. There's no such thing as certainty. And I'm not trying to inflate myself or come from a place of ego, but we are all busy. We are all living and doing the things. And when someone shows up and they have made time and space to come and support something that they believe in for free, a mission or a vision, because they care about the people on the other end of that who receive the services, when people show up like that, you owe it to yourself to be that voice in the room and to say something, because you're not just speaking for yourself in that board meeting. You're speaking for the people on the receiving end of those services of that nonprofit organization. And so sometimes you have to be bold and just say it. And I'll end with this. I'll land with this. Yeah. A lot of times, and this has been my experience, when someone pulls the trigger and says it, everyone is like, me too. And it's just a domino. Everyone's waiting on someone to go.
Well, do I do it publicly or should I do it privately? Should I write that email? Should I ask to speak to somebody on the side? Should I make a phone call?
I think as long as you do it tactfully and you're doing it from a place of respect, then I think it's okay. Now, of course, I came to the meeting and all I know, and I drove all the way over here from Madison and y'all start, perhaps that's not the best approach, Kenny. Perhaps it's not. Perhaps we need to walk, go listen to some jazz, decompress, do all of the things, and then sit down with the email, if that's what you feel like you need to do. And just say, hey, perhaps for the sake of time in our next meeting, to be efficient and to be fair, perhaps we can make sure that we have an agenda. And if we can get that agenda out in 7 days, my schedule's really picking up and I really want to be thoughtful and I want to contribute meaningfully to the meetings. And so if there's any way that I can get this information 7 days ahead, 10 days ahead, so that I can really sit down and show up ready to contribute and ready to actually move the mission, that would be great. You might even want to go so far as saying, if there's any way I can help to accomplish that, let me know. And you just make some recommendations, just depending on your level and how far you want to be involved. But I think tactfully is always the best approach. But think about the detriment that you do if you say nothing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Who loses if you don't say anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Tenesha, tell people how they can connect with you, social media presence, website, phone number.
Okay, so you can reach me online, onboardonbrand, all one word, .com, onboardonbrand.com. I encourage you to follow me and connect with me on LinkedIn. It's just my first name, last name, Tenesha, last name Thomas, Thomas. You can also give me a call, send me a text message. 615 is the area code, 919-0452, 615-919-0452. And just connect with me that way. I would love to connect with your organization. And again, bring that holistic and people-centric approach to make sure that you're actually moving missions forward with everybody on board and on brand.
She's Tenesha Thomas. She, of course, is the founder of Onboard Solutions. She brings us quarterly the segment All Aboard, the nonprofit Power Up series. And we're so glad that she's here to do that for us. We've been empowered today as we've been enlightened, and I hope that folks will take what we shared seriously and apply that in their lives. Tenesha, thank you for joining me. Look forward to joining you again soon.
Thank you, Kenny. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.
And the beat goes on, folks. We've got one final conversation today, and we're going to bring my guest on in just a minute, but we hope that you enjoyed that conversation with Tenesha Thomas. She, of course, comes to us quarterly with the segment, the All Aboard, the nonprofit Power Up series. And, of course, it's providing specific context for boards and organizations that might have a nonprofit structure and working to help them become better at what they do. And of course, we appreciate her sharing her vast wealth of knowledge and information in that space. Vicki Morris joins us as well on a quarterly basis, and we're always glad to see Vicki. Vicki is I'm gonna call her the curator, but she's the founder of communication strategist for
Renee
Consulting. Yeah, of course. And she joins us for a segment that we call BYOB, Be Your Own Boss. She's here once again, and I'll say to her, first of all, welcome and Happy New Year to you.
Well, thank you, and Happy New Year to you. This has been a lot of things have been happening, and I am again grateful to have the opportunity to have this conversation, which kind of leads right into what I wanted to talk about today.
Oh, that's great. Listen, continuity is a good thing, and we try to establish that on a regular basis so that people can benefit from that. As I said, I asked my guests to share information about what they want to share with us, and Vicki has chosen a topic today: how to reset, refocus, and execute in the new year. Know when you need a tool versus a conversation. What a fascinating concept. I'm looking forward to hearing all about what she has to share with us today, and we're going to do that right now. I got to ask you at the very top, though, about the second part of that: know when you need a tool versus a conversation.
Yes.
And tell me what you mean by that.
So it's the new year and people are generating, they're energized and saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to this course. I'm going to buy this tool. I'm going to do all of these new things. Sometimes you do need a tool. Maybe you do need a course. Maybe you do need a seminar. Maybe you need a workshop. Maybe you need a seminar that you need to go to. But sometimes you have all the right pieces. You just need to have a conversation with someone that's going to help you think through all the things. It's like when you read a book. You've got a great book you're reading. It's like, man, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. But you never take time to stop and implement the things in the book. You've just read a good book. That's all you've done. You haven't done anything with that information. Sometimes you've read the book and now you need to talk about the book and have someone hold you accountable for implementation. One of the things, I hired a couple of people on my team this year, and one of those people was Joanne Randolph. And many people in Huntsville remember Joanne. We love Joanne. She's working with me on my team. One of the things that she told me was that, Vicki, you need to set aside time to learn new things. You're really good at innovation and AI and technology and all of those things. So you set aside time in your schedule to learn those things, and then we can talk about them in our team meetings. That was revolutionary. I needed somebody to give me permission to do that, to have that conversation with me so that when I go and learn the tools, I go and buy the tools, I can implement them, and I have a sounding board. It's another young lady that I say young lady, she's about my age, that I brought onto my team this year. She owned a marketing firm. She decided she didn't want to be a business owner, but she wanted to be in the trenches and do the things. Well, now I have a whole different perspective with what I'm doing with clients that I work with. I value the conversations she and I can have. We did the same things, but her clientele was very different than mine. So she has a very different perspective looking at how we're helping my clients as she's a part of my team. So having those meaningful conversations, because sometimes most times, established business owners, you have all the things, but you just got a lot of things. You need somebody to help you navigate what things are relevant right now, what's going to be useful right now, or what things are, that's just great information. Let's box that up and put that on the shelf. Having that conversation is really important. And it's not about setting New Year's resolutions and, oh, I'm going to have a great focus on what I'm doing this year, but really looking at what you have, because it's far more expensive to make a decision out of haste when you could have taken a little bit more time to make the right decision, have some conversations with others who can advise you. That decision that you made in haste could be very expensive. And if you're an established business owner, there is some relevance to making decisions quickly, but you also want to be able to take the time to evaluate what you're doing. What is it you're taking in, and how is it going to help? How is it going to move the needle? Are we staying focused on our goal as a company?
Yeah, I often talk about the transition from one year to the next is a matter of 24 hours. There's really nothing magical about it except what we ascribe to it. What do you think it is about that New Year thing that happens where people are talking about resolutions or resetting and re-energizing and re-engaging and all the other re's, I guess, that come along with that? What do you think it is about that time, other than tradition, that makes it a time that people seem to focus on that? I mean, if weight loss, which is a big one, if weight loss is important on December 31st, it's probably going to be important on June 30th as well, and throughout the year. So what do you think it is about that magical moment that people ascribe to the new year that makes it a point at which people invest so much thought to?
Yes. So I had an interesting revelation over the holiday break. Yes, I took time off, like most of us do. And I had a time where I turned my email off. I turned my brain off from working. I just needed to reset and refocus on me. Now that I'm not focused on work, I can see so many other things around me a lot clearer. I saw things in my home that I wanted to upgrade or redo. I saw things in my health that I wanted to focus in on. So that time off gave me clarity. It gave me an opportunity to see what's already there much more clearly. I had a chance to refocus and reset simply because I took time away. I took time off. And I think that I hadn't really thought about that before this year. Having that time off away from work sometimes allows you to see it even more clearly of what you actually need to be focused on. I think that is what the key is.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Could that time be taken at another time, though?
Absolutely.
Because
absolutely.
Some people, again, are going to put all of their, I literally think this. Some people, we know this. You and I both know this.
Yeah.
January 1st, they're fired up.
Yeah.
February 1st, they're deflated. They're defeated. Thinking, oh my gosh, I've gotten off of whatever my commitment was. And then they spend the rest of the year making excuses for what they haven't changed, when at any point during the year could become a new year for them. But there just still seems to be this persistence. And I think tradition is what drives it. It's like, okay, it's a brand new year, so I'm going to do this thing. And the reality is, I think people who are forward thinking, people who are progressive, people who are invested in the space of growth understand it's a continuum of commitment that goes throughout the year, which you demonstrate in so much of the training that you do and the networking opportunities that you bring people together for, to challenge them to think and to grow, and the coaching that you do. All of that is a year-round process, and it could happen at any time of the year.
Absolutely. And I am such an advocate of, I have implemented this in my own life, in my own business. If there's a month that has 5 Mondays in it, I'm taking a long weekend. I'm taking a reset. And that allows me that time throughout the year to take a 30,000 foot view and refocus on what is really important. And I highly encourage, especially entrepreneurs, to do that, because if you're in the trenches all the time, you don't have time to come up and see what's just over the horizon, what opportunity is over there, but you got your head so down in the weeds that you can't see that opportunity. It's really important because it's great for our health. It's great for our mental well-being, and it's even good for our businesses and the people that work for us when we take that time to reset and refocus. And you are absolutely right. It should not be just one time a year, because that's not enough. If people are depending on us to provide jobs or to provide clarity for the clients that we serve, I have to have a clear head. I don't have a clear head if all Vicki does is work.
No, not at all. So you really, great segue into the next thing I wanted to really kind of talk to you a little bit about, because the aspiration to be better is a great thing, but so many people fail to execute. And the acquisition of these tools that you're talking about are really to leverage execution. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So I have been listening to a podcast when I go walking every day. When I go walking on the days that I go walking. And so the podcast has just really enlightened me on the podcast is called Earn Your Happy. And listening to her and just the things that she's talking about, she had a guest on and they were talking about being focused and aligned and having that affirmation. And so I was like, okay, I was listening to her, listen about the book. I went and bought the book. I started reading the book. I started writing down notes about the book. Then I started implementing things in my business. Have I finished the book yet? No. Is that relevant? No, because I've gotten some nuggets from it that I can put in. I'm going to take my time and go through reading that book, but I'm also going to start implementing immediately. If I just read the book and boom, 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 I read the book, I just read another book. So what? Taking that time to really implement and giving us the whole purpose is to get the information so that I can implement and do better for my team, do better for my clients. If all I'm doing is retaining that knowledge here and it doesn't go out, I'm not helping anybody. I'm just reading a book to say, okay, check, I read another book.
Let me ask you this. I'm kind of stepping back a little bit, just kind of thought about something, because there are people who decide they want better, but they don't necessarily know how to start or where to start. I think you made a great point about the whole notion of, do I need a tool or do I need a conversation?
Yes.
So let's say somebody now has experience awareness about this, and they're like, I want to have that conversation. Well, where does that person find that conversation?
You need to be in the rooms where people can answer those questions. If you don't know who to turn to, you're probably in the wrong rooms. You're in the rooms that got you to where you are. Now you need to be in the rooms to get you to where you want to be. So if you want to have more clarity on what I've gotten all this information, I've got all these pieces, I'm not really sure what to do with them. Find someone who has achieved just a little bit more than you have, that's at a little bit higher place than you are, or further along in their business than you are. Ask them their opinions. Surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. I never want to be the person in the room that everybody's asking the questions of. I want to be in the room where everyone is asking other people the questions, because the people that are being asked those questions are the people that can help me get to where I want to be. Find rooms where people can help you achieve and can help you discern all this information that you have. Because sometimes it's just maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a business advisor, maybe it's a consultant, maybe it's a mastermind group. Those things are going to be where we can help each other, help ourselves and one another level up. So if I had a question about, a strategic plan or whether I'm working with a client, I could go and read a book, or I could come and ask my friend Kenny Anderson, how do we do this? How is this going to help? What can I do to level up in that? So learn more about people that are around you and how people can help you. And that's something that, I am trying to take more time to have those coffee conversations with people. I have a long list of people, and your previous guest, Tenesha Thomas, she is on that list of people that I want to sit down and have coffee with, where I can sit at their feet and learn. Maybe I learned something from them. Maybe they learned something from me. But if I haven't taken that time to learn and explore those things, I'm decreasing my opportunity to learn. And they're right there. leveraging our networks is something that we should do more of. And that's something I am being intentional about this year. And so having those conversations, because sometimes I've got all these tools, and having that conversation with somebody can really help me figure out, all right, take this piece, and put that together. And now you got something to go on.
So listen, I consider you to be one of the most resourceful people in this community that I know. If there's somebody who knows what's going on or is close to the action, you're probably that person. So I want you to be more specific in telling people where they can go. And I'm going to start with your initiative, Rise, which is regional. And, we always have to have this conversation. Used to be Hot Coffee, and they moved away from a great name, Hot Coffee, and they made it Regional Innovation. Ecosystem. I don't even want to say the whole thing right now. I'll let Vicki say it because it's her thing. But I was hurt by them changing from Hot Coffee because I thought, whoa, what a brilliant name for a networking group. But that aside, she's got an initiative called Rise right now that used to be Hot Coffee, and it is amazing. It's a great space to learn. It's a great space to connect. It's a great space for introverts who may want to spread their wings to kind of know what's going on, because I'm not going to presume people just jump into spaces. I'm a natural introvert that jump in spaces and they get all they can get and they know how to do that. That's not necessarily the case. But talk to me about Rise. You just had one. I know you did, because the former mayor of Madison, Paul Finley, was the speaker. He's now a consultant. Was a consultant before, now he's a consultant again. A great guy to learn from, great guy to be in the room, accessible, available. Talk to me about your initiative, but also other specific places where people can reach out and connect in our community.
Yes. So Rise is a wonderful organization. It's Regional Innovators Sustaining the Ecosystem.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I get it. I know Hot Coffee is it was a quintessential name. But yes, so it's a free networking event, and we meet 4 or 5 times a year, and we're meeting over at Gigaparts now. So it's a larger space. It's more centrally located. And those of us who like shopping and whatnot, we know it's the old Burlington Coat Factory location, but it's a phenomenal space, and it's a lot of room to spread out there. We have a great lineup of speakers. Paul Finley is kicking us off. We've got Dr. Larry Lowe from the city of Huntsville. We've got Bobby Bradley. We've got John Allen. We've got ladies from Momentum that are there. And it's all about helping us level up. Maybe we want to be in those rooms where these speakers are. Paul Finley is a phenomenal guy. I consider him a real friend, but we can talk shop. He's a marketer. He's a marketing consultant, and he's got some information that can help business owners level up. That's what he does. And this is just an organization. What we do, we have a 20-minute presentation from the speaker, and it's all about connecting. I give people tips on how to connect with people and how to market their messaging. And we're also encouraging people to set up a coffee meeting, meet somebody that you don't know that you need to know. And it's not about how they can help you, but can you introduce them to somebody that they need to know? How can you encourage people to be more outgoing and learn more about what others are doing? Because when we know more about what others are doing, it helps us and it can help the people that we know. So that is one of the things that I love about Rise. It's free to come to. I'm always there probably till 10 or 10:30 every time, because people are connecting and wanting to connect with people. And, you might close business there. You might meet your next big client, but you never know. And so it's a great opportunity. It's on Friday mornings at 8:00, and we've got all of our events on Eventbrite. So check that out.
And they'll find it under Rise, RISE.
Yes. Okay. You can look up RISE. You can look up Vicki Morris. Either one will get you to it.
Okay. On eventbrite.com. I want to make sure people know that, so that they can go find it and that they can connect with it. This is the actual, you're not just resetting anymore. You're actually executing now.
Absolutely.
You actually register for this event and you show up. And Vicki said some important things. And one, she said, it's free. That's something we always like to emphasize. Vicki also said that some power hitters are going to be a part of the conversation speaking series this year. And people should probably come early. People should plan to stay a little bit over afterwards. People should bring business cards and other ways that they can communicate and connect with people when they come to these spaces, because you never know.
Yes. And I'm going to say, this is my little soapbox about business cards. When you go to a networking event, and I want, those of you who got the dots and all of the digital business cards, I need y'all to lean in close here. If you go to a networking event and all I'm doing is putting all this stuff in my phone, I don't know who I talked to and what was significant about that conversation. I need a business card that I can write some notes on.
This is good.
I go back to my office and put it in a spreadsheet and send you an email. I've got a whole seminar on networking with results. There's a way to do this. You talk with people that you want to connect with. I promise myself, if I meet 5 great people at a networking event, my introverted self, I give myself permission to leave after I've met 5 great people, because I'll start getting, people. Figure out who those people are and follow up with them. Follow up with everybody you meet. Invite them to be a part of your email list. Don't automatically put them on your email list. There's a way to do this. And you got to come back next time or join my marketing email list, and I'll tell you why you never want to just put people on your email list, because you get in trouble that way. But bring your business cards. I keep a stack of business cards when I go to a networking event, and I need to have that stack, because that's how I follow up. If I have to remember to go to my phone, where did it land in my phone? What did I remember about you? I'm probably not going to be able to follow up with you as easily as going to the stack of business cards that I had from said event. And let me say, you chew gum, I'm going to tell you, these little things that gum comes in, that is a great holder for business cards. These are the business cards I got from one of the networking events that I last went to.
I love your tools, Vicki. I love your tools. But let me say one quick thing about business cards. Make sure you bring business cards that you can write on, because a lot of people will get the nice glossy cards and they'll look real slick and nice, but you can't write on them. And the 2-sided ones with the colors on both sides, make sure you get something that's functional, something that people can utilize and leverage the kinds of things that Vicki is saying. Vicki, of course, we run out of time too every time, but I don't want to miss this piece, because we got some folk listening right now and they're like, yeah, this is a great conversation. I like Vicki. She's the truth, but I'm an established business owner. I've done what I've done and I'm doing what I'm doing. So why does that person need to stay engaged and stay connected?
Because you need to feed your pipeline. If you're an established business owner, you're beyond the hustle and I just got to reach everybody. You know exactly who you want to reach. And your network can only get you so far. You need to reach other people who are reaching the people you want to connect with. So when you can level up and really focus in on who you need to meet, what rooms you actually need to be in, and if you aren't in those rooms, who do you know that's in those rooms that can get you in those rooms? That's leveling up for that established business owner, because you need a reliable pipeline. The more people you have in your pipeline, you can always go back into that pipeline and matriculate people down your sales funnel. But you've got to find a way to continually have people in that pipeline. And an email list and a networking event are great, but be selective. There are a lot of networking events. Choose the one you want to go to. And this is something I give in my seminar. Look it up online. See who's already there. Who are they catering to? Are those the people that I want to talk to? Oh, I need to go. Why do I become a member of NowCom, which is commercial real estate? Because real estate people need marketing help. These are people that spend money on advertising. They are going to be willing to spend money with a consultant to help them level up their messaging. So being strategic. Yes, I love to go to networking events with my introverted self, but I can't be everywhere. So choosing strategically which ones I need to go to and how that's going to feed my pipeline and how I'm going to be able to help my clients and other people that may be asking me about how can I connect with this person or how can I connect with this organization. If I'm out and about and strategically going to networking events and leveraging my network for my benefit and people that I know, then that's going to make me that much more valuable of a contact.
Vicki, we really have about 2 minutes, but I wanted you to quickly address, as briefly as possible, the notion of how one holds himself accountable to doing these kinds of things. You know, if you have a strategic process, you also have to have a measurement process, and use that word earlier about just how does one know that they're being successful? Are there maybe 1 or 2 quick things you can share about how one holds himself accountable?
Yes. What are your goals? You need to start off with a goal statement and a vision statement of what you want to accomplish. And the things that you want to do, that if it looks shiny and it's got it smells pretty and looks nice and all of that, it might not be for you. Evaluate. Does it help me move the needle toward my goals? Or is it just something that sounds nice? Be able to discern that, but you have to do some planning. You have to do some planning after you've had time to reset and refocus and reevaluate the things that are most important. And do that, yes, at the beginning of the year, but do that 2 or 3 other times during the year so that you can remain focused. Is this where I really need to be? Okay, that works. This is going to move the needle. Or that's a great idea. Maybe I can say that for another time. But know where you want to go. If you don't know where you want to go, every road will take you there, said one of my favorite clients.
And that's not what we want if we're resetting and focusing in 2026. And we want to make sure that we consistently execute. That at the end of the day is what it comes down to for me. We could have all kind of great ideas in our head, but if we don't do, if we don't follow through and follow up, it's not going to be as successful as possible. Vicki Morris is the person you need to know in 2026. She, of course, is making it happen with Renee Consulting. She is a strategic communication strategist, as well as a person who is, I think, extraordinarily equipped to be able to help you move to the next level in terms of business and perhaps other things that you have going on in terms of your professional career and in life. Vicki, if people want to connect with you and find out more about what you're doing and how you're doing it, and perhaps you want to make that phone call to move on to the next step by resetting with you, how would they go about doing that?
You can go to my website, thereneeconsulting.com. And for ladies, just kind of like the shoes, like J. Renee. So it's thereneeconsulting.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn at Vicki Morris, also on Facebook. If you go to my website, it's a simple link in the button in the top right-hand corner that you can get on my calendar. We can have a conversation, and you just tell me all the things that you're doing and what you want to do, and I can help you map out a strategic plan. And those things don't cost anything. That's just a conversation.
See, look, Vicki's just putting it out there, folks. If you don't do better in 2026, that's going to be on you.
Absolutely.
Giving you ample information to be able to figure out how you move forward in this process. Vicki, thank you for joining us. We look forward to our next conversation with you in April.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you then. Take care.
All right.
Vicki Morris, great way to end the conversations today, folks. We've had a great series of conversations, beginning with Dr. Bryan Samuel, the Vice President of Access, Connections, and Engagement at UAH. Great conversation with him on National Mentoring Month and all of the ways that we can connect and get involved and engage in this particular year. We talked a little bit about with Chris Mixer, the Director of Resource Development for Habitat for Humanity of the River Valley, about all the great ways that Habitat is making an impact in people's lives and how you can perhaps make a difference in terms of your own investment and commitment in our community. We talked a little bit with Tenesha Thomas. She's the founder of Onboard Solutions, about how we can move towards greater alignment in our board work. And then Vicki Morris, of course, Renee Consulting, and all of the great ways that we can make 2006 a better outcome for all of us. We, of course, want to remind you that on next Sunday, we got another series of broadcasts. It's going to be our first What's Going On of February. and we'll have our social, political, cultural roundtable conversation with a group of our commentators. We look forward to having that conversation at that time. In the meantime, I hope that you have a great rest of the week. Remember, as always, that knowledge is better than riches. Have a great afternoon, and we'll talk again soon. Good day.
Thank you for tuning in to Second Chance. We hope that the information that was shared has been a blessing to you and that your life will be enriched as a result of it. We'd love to hear from you. So please send your email comments to Kenneth Anderson at mxlife@aol.com. That's mxlife@aol.com. And check out our Facebook page, 2ND Chance. That's 2ND Chance. In the meantime, have a great week, and we'll talk to you again next week. Good day.